we had a different stream set up, but due to some technical difficulties, we've had to swap that. So hopefully you can all find us. Baloo, welcome back, sir. It's been, we know we had you on our Friday live show the other week, but you've been traveling across continents to join us today from a wonderful new location, and it looks extremely beautiful.
It's not too shabby.
It's not
glad to be here as always.
Yeah, you're looking nice and relaxed and very happy.
Well, thank you.
Is the market the same though? That's what we're going to discuss today. It's
the market doesn't know what it's doing.
No, it doesn't really, does it? We'll try and make some sense of that for everybody joining us. I can see they're flooding in now. They've figured out we're on a different stream. Welcome, Jonathan. Maybe two of my Axie Infinity scholars. We're going to be talking a bit of Axie today, people. Welcome to you all. So basically, the agenda for today, people, we're going to have a look at the price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, a number of the alts, and have a bit of a chat about the overall sort of state of play in the blockchain space. Our thoughts on that. Putting it mildly, it really is all action at the moment. All action. Baloo, are you excited? Are you pleased you decided to put your lot into the blockchain space?
Yeah. In regards to Axie or what do you?
Oh, just the space in general.
Just am I happy to be involved in blockchain? Absolutely. Yeah. You know, this is where the innovation is. This is the biggest thing that nobody knows about yet. This is the biggest thing in the world. In my opinion, it's the most innovative space. And I am a techie. I am a nerd. I'm a first first adopter, I guess. In the crypto world, I may not be considered, first adopter, but I think in the grand scheme of things, this is a pretty impressive space. And, whatever the market's doing to me and to everybody else is kind of irrelevant in the big picture. We are involved in something that I feel is very special. You were around in the euphoria of the .com bubble. So was I, but I just wasn't as financially tuned in at the time.
You were about 8, weren't you?
Something like that. I wasn't looking at the stocks back when I was 8. But it's the biggest thing since the internet, and it's kind of just the missing puzzle piece of the internet, and it's going to open doors that we don't even know exist yet. So I don't care what the market's doing. I'm happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get into the technical analysis, which is primarily what the show's about, well, it's kind of off the cuff, to be honest, here today, people. Baloo, maybe known to some of you. He's been on the Hard Forking channel here with us for a couple of months now. He's fallen in love with Axie Infinity. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I think that's fair to say.
Okay.
It's such a complete economy, and it really has intrinsic value, which is something that's few and far between in the blockchain space. So yes, I have fallen in love with these little creatures.
Fantastic. Well, we've got lots of people I'm very in love with from our community that I can see flooding in right now. So before we get into the TA on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a number of other projects, what are you doing in the Axie space? Can you just give us a quick rundown on that? Are you looking to get a bunch of scholars together, et cetera, et cetera? Just let the audience know about that, and then we'll get into the charts.
Yeah, so, I went from being a breeder to being a scholar manager. So, I've got about 10 scholars under me right now. I'm looking to get another 10 and looking to grow from there. I'm leaning into this ecosystem pretty hard and looking for people that I can trust that are willing to grind out, you know, a reasonable amount. And I'm offering a reasonable amount as well, 35-65 split, 65 going to the scholar. And yeah, I want to encourage good players too. You know, I'm kind of wanting to nurture a player that, you know, doesn't just want to, you know, making a living is nice, playing for SLP is nice, but I want a good player too. I want somebody that gets up on the leaderboard. So I'm trying to find that individual that can make it up onto the leaderboard and nurture them so that they can make a really solid career out of this.
Yeah, awesome. So look, I've definitely got some teams to give away. I'm kind of springing this on you at the last minute here, but if you want to maybe give away one team at the end of the stream today, it's entirely up to you. I'll be doing that. So people in the chat here, for my team, I want to get I'm going to give my team away to the best question about Bitcoin or crypto. I'll let Baloo decide how he's going to allocate his as we go. So there you go, people. The challenge has been laid down for you. So we'll come back to you very shortly, people. So, you know, fire your questions here. I'll go back through them as we're looking at the charts. But Baloo, there is so much action happening in the crypto space at the moment. Plenty of price action. We've got temporarily, we got back up above that sort of figure of 52,000. Where are we going?
32,000.
I'm sorry,
32,000.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, 35,200.
It wasn't too long. It wasn't too long ago we were talking 50s.
Yeah.
But those days are behind us for now.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. I got that one wrong. But yeah, too many numbers. So how about we jump into a Bitcoin chart and see what's going down?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, so I always like to start out all of my analysis on a higher time frame, like the daily. You know, you can go higher than that, but I think the daily is just a good place to start to look for macro structure. Macro structure is not great. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are in a downtrend. We are in a consolidation that is looking to potentially continue a downtrend. Now, the invalidation of that downtrend would be as if we could get above this level of the upthrust on healthy demand, get us above here and test and hold. If we can test and hold, then we're looking okay for a reversal. But the thing is, we're in a macro downtrend from the high to the swing low to the swing high to the swing low. We're making lower lows and lower highs. That can't be ignored. When you are in a downtrend, it is okay to try and look for a reversal, but you should be very cautious and you should be very apprehensive with entries trying to nail a bottom. It's very important if you're trading this market to not worry about catching the bottom and don't worry about selling the top. The money is made in the middle on solid confirmation. So what we have here is nothing solid. We got nothing solid on this. It's you know, it's bouncing back, but if we jump down to something like the 4 hour, the structure isn't great either. I mean, we're just trading sideways. Now, trading sideways is a decision point. We are either going to break down. So that would look something like this, you know, where we kind of break down, get a bearish test of the underside of the channel, and then head to lower levels, somewhere around $20,000. Or we're going to find support, maybe break up and continue to the upside. Now, that's not, you know, what a lot of people want to hear. They don't want to hear like, oh, so it can go up and it can go down. That's the facts. That's where we are right now. If you were to pick a bias, unfortunately, your bias would be to the short side because we're in a downtrend. So if you were trying to trade this, you should be kind of looking for shorts until we get enough invalidations of your short setups to get a continuation to the upside. If we take a look at the point and figure chart, it's looking pretty bearish. A lot of people kind of struggle to read this chart, but anyways, I'll just kind of briefly brush over it. When we take a look at some of the volume profiles or the volume signatures here, anytime we have an influx of volume, it's coming from selling. So anytime that there is trading activity, it's predominantly to the selling side, which, you know, is not great, but we could be exhausting the sellers. That overall volume is declining, so the sellers could be coming exhausted. We do have a sign of weakness here, which is just a lower low, another sign of weakness, which is again a lower low, and another sign of weakness here, which is again a lower low. However, our current up bar is getting above the level of the previous few bars. So that is a tick in the right direction. Now, we have already seen this once before inside of this consolidation right here. We got a move up, but it was met with a move down that was lower than the original move. So that is classified as an upthrust. Again, there's not a lot here that is giving me a clear bias one way or the other. So what am I doing for the most part? Sitting it out. You know, when in doubt, sit it out. There's no reason for you to try and catch the bottom when you're working against a trend that's to the downside. So I'm kind of sitting it out, taking a look at what's going on in preparation for our dive into the altcoin space. We want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, where's my highlighter tool? Bitcoin dominance is showing signs of shortening rallies. So that means that the energy flow going into Bitcoin is decreasing. It's less and less of a flee out of the altcoin space into Bitcoin as a hedge or a safe haven, which is a good sign for the altcoins. And we are beginning to curl over in regards to the overall structure here. Now, my target was somewhere around this area between 50 to 55% Bitcoin dominance before we see an altcoin run again. But we might get some smaller interim runs while both Bitcoin is making up its mind and trading sideways alts tend to do well as retail floods back into that market. So we will see how this kind of plays out, but I wouldn't be surprised for this to continue to the upside as well. So we will monitor that. Real quick, before we take a look at some of these other ones that you have requested, we'll just take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's getting a nice bit of a bounce inside of its channel. I don't like all of the open space at the bottom here. This level wasn't tested enough, and when it came down to test, you know, it came after a bar that was quite a down bar. So we're struggling to overtake that. If we can't get above 2250 inside of Ethereum, we'll probably curl over and head to lower levels. But hey, you know, it's crypto. It doesn't go up all the time. We're here for the gains, but the gains come with losses as well. So not here to freak anybody out, not here to scare anybody. I'm just trying to remain level-headed while we trade sideways with the trend that's working against us. When we get the signals, when we get the go ahead, I will be a bull as along with everybody else. But while we're waiting for that to happen, there's no reason for me to be overly bullish, and I would be leaning to the bear side.
Baloo, I'll throw you a bit of a curveball now, because I think our trading styles short term are probably quite different. I've actually been day trading this market while we've been in this sideways pattern for what seems like an eternity. Hypothetically, and I know this isn't how you trade, but hypothetically, if you were day trading, and when I say day trading, you know, moving out of trade, sort of, you know, on an hourly basis, how could you talk us through the, you know, the metrics that you would look at? How would you sort of decide on entries, exits? You know, we're clearly sort of operating in a range at the moment. For me personally, I've been, you know, I went long when we hit that 30K mark. I looked at the 4 hour, then worked my way back through 2, 1, half an hour, 15 minutes, etc. Any thoughts on people that are sort of, you know, trading on those time frames and you know, the market we find ourselves in at the moment? What you know, how would you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to do the day trade, the intraday trade kind of stuff, what I would recommend is get your hands on our indicator in the crypto jungle. So Matt's indicator, the alphanumerics indicator, link below, is actually a great strategy. So how strategies work for the most part is it's just a game of probabilities, okay? And how the game of probabilities, if you're a trader, works is when you're wrong, you take small losses, and when you're right, you take big wins. Now, that sounds easy on paper, but if we just kind of dissect what's going on with this indicator, this is a momentum indicator. It's a moving average indicator. It works with a few EMAs, and there are these crosses that occur. So, we have a bullish cross here, and it was immediately met with a bearish cross. So, you got the bull signal right here. You go long, it immediately went bearish. You got stopped out of the trade, probably at break even or a minimal loss. We then got another bull signal. That one actually gave you a little bit of juice. When you're intraday trading, don't try to, get everything that you can out of the trade. 5 to 10%, 5 to 8% is very achievable when you're range bound. So just have those achievable goals when you're range bound. And this signal would have given you that. Okay. Then you get the bear signal. You could go short. Again, you would have gotten at least a 5 to 10% move, 5 to 8% move to the bearish cross. So right here on these four signals here, we're at a 50% success rate. Again, going back to when you're wrong, your losses are minimal, and when you're right, you ride them a little bit longer. Those are good trades. You got out of two bad trades, and you rode two good ones. So for those that want to kind of do the more frequent kind of stuff, this was a successful one. This was an unsuccessful one. Unsuccessful, successful, moderately successful, or at least break even, very successful short, and moderately successful long. So, it seems to have a 50% success rate. The key to these types of strategies is following them. Just follow them. Every signal, do something, and every signal, make sure that your strategy fits so that you don't run out of capital. Okay, like you have to be able to take losses because it's part of the strategy. If you're going all in, it's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. It's a math game. It's a numbers game. It's a probabilities game. So for those that want to play the intraday, those who want to play the range, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that do, as we just mentioned, link below to Baloo's channel. Go check it out, people. And you can also support us by, if you are an experienced trader, please use our BYBIT link, which is also below. So, look, it's kind of same old since we spoke last time. We're really operating in that same range.
Yeah.
Are we here forever?
Well, your mindset needs to think so if you are a trader. Your mindset needs to always be with the trend. So if we're trading sideways, that's the trend. That's how you trade it. You don't deviate from that. From an analytical point of view, from a macro health point of view, it's looking like downtrend for now. If we can get a break above, it's pretty neutral. Okay, so if we get a break above, we'll probably continue to go above. If we get a break below, we'll probably continue to go below. But it's just, there's not much new to report. We're range bound in that specific range. We're hovering around 30K to 40K. That's our range. And that will continue to be our range until it isn't. And sometimes it's just that simple.
Yeah, I agree. I've got quite a bit of confidence in that support level around the 30K mark. I've been, I guess for nearly 2 months now, I've been long in the market when we've hit those levels, but obviously keeping a very close eye if it were to break down to exit those trades. But I've had a huge amount of success trading up from 30. I'm still in a long on ETH at the moment, but the toes are starting to twitch a wee bit on that. The range is starting to feel more like sort of 35 to 30 on Bitcoin rather than 30 to 40. So we'll see how that plays out in the next 24 hours. But I mean, what are your thoughts around your sort of portfolio construction? I've definitely found myself, and look, audience, it's not financial advice. We can't do that, but I've certainly turned back around to friends and family that felt they had missed the opportunity to enter crypto when it got up above 50 and beyond. My attitude at the moment with the people closest to me, I guess what I'm telling them is, look, I've committed nearly 5-6 years of my life to this space now. I wouldn't be doing this unless I 100% believe that this is the future. So
Yeah.
entering the market around these price levels, whether it's 35, 30, or 20, to me, doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. If you're not trading and you're investing,
Yeah.
you might want to take some time to really understand what is going on in the space, people. It's getting frustrating hearing the amount of people that are telling me, oh, look, I'm waiting till 20. These were the same people telling me they were waiting for 30 when we were at 50. So, that's your call. I can't make your minds up on that one. But, you've always got dollar cost averaging as an option here. And I think that's a fantastic strategy in this sort of scenario. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's always going to be a group of people that tell you to wait for lower levels, always, for and now and forever. There always will be that group of people that tell you to wait for lower levels. Don't fall for it. If you are interested in gaining exposure to this thing, then gain exposure to it. Don't go all in. Don't put in stuff that you're not willing to lose. And if you are genuinely waiting for lower levels, buy some now and buy some there. You don't want to kick yourself for losing it, if you are losing the opportunity that you were sitting ready to execute, because Tom, Dick, and Mary told you that we're definitely going down to 20. There is no definite. If anybody speaks to you in absolutes, block them. Get them out of your life because they have nothing but bad advice for you.
Yeah. So, Baloo, question. With all the stuff that we've seen happening in El Salvador, do you, where does your thinking lie at the moment? Do you think that crypto is becoming more acceptable to the powers that be, so to speak? The central bankers, the policymakers globally here, or do you think we're in for a tough ride on the space? I mean, this clearly is a factor, and
I
I think
think,
the reason we're going sideways is because of this.
right. I think that every nation has had a meeting in regards to Bitcoin. Whether it is a meeting on adoption, whether it is a meeting on precaution, whether it is a meeting on, if this happens, what are we going to do as a response? They're talking about it.
Yeah.
Every nation is going to kind of have their own approach to it. And the more, first world nations are probably not going to take the adoption road because they hold too much control with their fiat system. The adoption is going to come from those that are disadvantaged by the current system as an opportunity to, gain an advantage over the current system. Yep. So there's going to be many different approaches to this. There's going to be many different theories, and overall, it's basically going to come to the point that if some are doing it, others will, and others will try to stop it. Raoul Pal, I just watched one of his videos just recently, and he made the best analogy for Bitcoin. And he said, Bitcoin is the cockroach of the financial system. It hides, it's there. You can't get rid of it. You can try and kill it. There will still be more of it. You can't get rid of this thing. It is a cockroach of the financial system. And you're just going to have to get used to it. You're going to have to live with it. It's not going away. You're never getting rid of these cockroaches. You can nuke the world and they're still going to exist. So it's Pandora's box has been opened. It's just, what are these nations going to do? How are they going to handle it? Are they going to try and copy? Or are they just going to do the right thing, the easiest thing, and just adopt? And I think El Salvador has done their due diligence. They've done their research. And you know, if this game theory plays out, they're going to end up being a very wealthy nation.
Yeah, I think the big one for me is Panama are also making noises around making Bitcoin legal tender. That I wouldn't describe as a cockroach. That's Pandora's box because they basically have a huge amount of offshore companies set up there. It's a tax haven for many companies. So whether or not the bigger players allow that to happen, that to me is going to be a real litmus test of the adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender by a number of countries. But Panama is the biggie for me, and that's coming up next month. So look, July looms large, people. We've got EIP 1559 coming up as well. Buckle down,
Yeah,
putting it mildly.
it's going to be
If you thought the last
but
couple of months have been wild, get ready for July.
yeah.
So, I mean, look,
agree.
you know, on that note, there's wonderful trading opportunities. Personally, you know, look, I've been a buyer of these assets when Bitcoin dipped back down to low 30s. I plowed back in. I accumulated more Matic, Algo, AXS, Axie Infinity. You know, a number of projects that I see adoption in. Look, I think this blockchain space is just growing exponentially at the moment. So, you know, when we talk the price point of Bitcoin and Ethereum, you know, those sort of that empirical evidence, those actual facts are a bit lost on most people. But that's what I'm seeing, and I'm sure you are as well. So I think the overall space is extremely healthy. But whether or not we just, you know, we get that moonshot in the next month or two, personally, I doubt. I think the big players are playing a bit of wait and see here. They're looking for some clarity around how they will be regulated. So, you know, for me, look, this is the time to buy. Bitcoin is a different animal. It can't be switched off. Ethereum also has the advantage of having been through the courts in the US. It's been deemed a commodity. It's legislated as such. So, you know, you don't really have any concerns if you're a Bitcoin or an Ethereum holder, at least in the US. Yeah, some of the other alts, I think, could be in trouble here. I think clarity around how DeFi is going to operate moving forward is going to be a biggie. And we're going to look at some alts in a moment. But, you know, as far as having, you know, those staples of your portfolio, Bitcoin and Ethereum, my God, I'm telling everyone to buy them up at these prices, people. But your call. I think we're getting ready for liftoff. I don't think it'll happen in July, but I don't think it's too far away. Thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you're new to this space, don't think you can't make money in Bitcoin and Ethereum. You know, if you're new, it's really easy to get overwhelmed because the entire ecosystem is very speculative. And speculation comes with volatility. Don't come in here just thinking you could pick an altcoin and you know, make $1 million off of a small position. You'll waste a lot of time. You'll waste a lot of energy. You'll waste a lot of effort. Buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, because they are tried, tested, and true, and they are arguably some of the most important projects. And I emphasize the word important. They are very important projects to the future of, you know, the influence that blockchain technology is going to have on the world. And you can daydream about finding, you know, a coin that's going to be the next Bitcoin or the next Ethereum, but I find it very hard to think that you're going to find it. We aren't still searching for the next greatest internet. You know, the internet's been the internet for a very long time. Don't think of these things as stocks. Don't think of them necessarily. You're owning a share of a network. And the network adoption is where the value comes from. So don't forget about, getting a piece of the internet, because that's effectively what you're buying.
Yeah, very true. Yep. Don't buy the horse, buy the track. And that's, certainly the case with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not to say there's not other great projects out there, but I think for the next month, for me, it's those major players. And that's not to say that I haven't, I've put some money into Algo, into Sol, into Polkadot. I bought the dip on those. They're long holds for me. I have no stop loss on them, and I will just ride that wave of emotions, even if they dip on me. I think they're good projects. I'm there for the long haul. We're going to talk about Axie in a moment. But for you, any other gems? I mean, I see we've had Tom Brady and his supermodel wife Giselle have just bought into FTX as well. They're now the sponsors of the stadium in Miami, and also a football team or a baseball team in New York. Now they've got a supermodel and America's alpha male.
Yeah.
Well done, Sol.
Yeah. Well, FTX Arena's in Miami. And it's a basketball team.
Yes, they also sponsored the Major League Baseball umpires last week as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've been a little out of the loop here. Yeah, so as far as cryptos that also have value, it's a project that you talk about quite often, and that's Matic, Polygon, only because it's contributing to the bigger picture of scaling Ethereum. EIP 1559 is going to have a big impact, probably. But having those second layer solutions to keep, fees are supposed to be not even a thing that we think about. They're supposed to be the smallest fraction of a penny that we don't think about. So anything that makes that a reality is going to have intrinsic value, in my opinion. And then the assets like FTX, the FTT token, I am a huge fan of the FTX exchange. I've pretty much boycott Binance at this point. There's just so much drama with Binance in regards to, high volume days, halting of withdrawals, and I'm just done with Binance.
Just FTX, very quickly on that note, it's taken me 5 weeks to be able to move money off Binance. Bizarrely, all of a sudden, the emails that I just didn't get from them happened again yesterday. Hour upon hour, talking to their support, telling me that the problem was at my end, not theirs. Absolute rubbish. So I'm very worried about Binance at the moment, people. Just throwing that out there. And look, it just comes back to the same fact as well. If you're not, if you're not trading on these platforms, why the hell are you leaving your money there? The reality is most people leave their assets on these third-party exchanges. Now, the whole point of Bitcoin is money you control. That is the whole point. Stateless money, but also money you control, uncensorable, unconfiscatable. You're being a freaking idiot and you know nothing about Bitcoin if you are literally buying this asset, leaving it on an exchange. I get it. If you're trading there, that's fine. But if you're just buying it, you're being lazy. You've got to figure out how to custody that yourselves. And there's plenty of content on this channel showing you how to do that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. If you are just purchasing, like, let's say you're an individual who's just buying on Coinbase and leaving it there, you're doing yourself a disservice by not understanding how it actually works. And, get hands-on with this stuff. Try it. Open a wallet and do a transaction. Move your coin from the exchange to a wallet, because that transaction in and of itself is going to teach you a lot. Whether it's a security issue is kind of besides the point. It's the fact that you're learning how this new system works and why it's valuable. So yeah, I would say, if you've only ever bought and held on the exchange, you should take it upon yourself to do a transaction, to try and move your coin off of an exchange, because it's your money. and you can move it
Yep.
where you want. And that's profound. Exchanges don't really work like that. So
Yep.
the fact that you can do that is pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to take it a step further here for people that are sort of learning about the space, and I can see many of the people that are watching now from our community. For me, the other thing is any opportunity to earn cryptocurrency, be paid in it, that doesn't require you to go through a KYC process and actually purchase that on a centralized entity. That really does massively creates a situation where that asset truly is yours. It will become a scenario in the future where you might be requested to declare what you have, but I think it's every human's right to be put in that position to actually declare it rather than just have it as part of a very centralized scenario where it could just be taken off you from a central authority. So, don't let that be lost on your people. I've spent 5 years trying to explain this to you.
Yeah.
Any opportunity you've got to earn crypto, take it.
Yeah. Just the simple fact that, the authority would ask you to declare out of good faith, the fact that you have the choice to just say, no, I haven't received anything, and there's nothing they can do to find it, is profound.
Yeah.
And it's a big shift in power. We the people put governments in power to begin with to help organize a society, and they've run amok. And they've run amok using the fiat currency system and the fact that they can do what they want when they want. If they don't have the money, they just print it. They hold too much power, and we the people put them in power. So,
Baloo, why do we pay taxes when they
it.
can just print money?
I've said this so many times. We're at the point where it's a formality and it's a power. It's just a power play. There is no point to paying taxes other than the fact that if you don't, you go to jail. That's the only reason. That's the only reason you pay taxes. If they want to buy something, they print it. If you don't pay taxes, you go to jail. That's why you pay taxes. It's really that It's simple. Yeah.
I think these things are sort of starting to dawn on people now. So look, there's a great opportunity, people. Own an asset that is separate from the state, that you control, that can't be taken off you. It's up to you whether you declare that you actually own it or not. And look, most law-abiding citizens, given the fact they respect their government, would declare, yes, I have this. But why not have the option?
Yeah.
Give yourself that option. That's what Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
Absolutely is that. Now, I sent you through a list of things I'd also like to have a look at the charts of, very self-centered, the ones that I own. So can we have a quick
Well,
look at some of those?
it is what it is. It is what it is. So we just spoke about Matic. So why don't we just hop on a Matic chart and take a look at what we can see there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Matic. It's on this downward sloping line of resistance.
Oh, hang on a minute. Not sure we have Matic there.
Am I sharing my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, there we go. You took it down on me. I didn't know. Okay, so yeah, we have this downward sloping line of resistance. It's also occurring on kind of this area of support where we found our previous resistance before the last kind of major run. So this is a nice area of support that we're getting close to, but we're starting to peek our head out. We're starting to move away from this. I don't like how there's no demand coming in. So currently it's just, the structure is just kind of floating through space, and it's just doing what it's doing with basically retail traders. There's no institutional buying. There's no urgency. And I think that's because a lot of the money is still sitting on the sidelines. A lot of the big money, a lot of the big signals, big money moves slow. Big money takes big positions over time when the time is right. And when the time is not right, you can't expect to see the demand. You can't expect to see the volume come in. So we're going to have to probably get our signals from Bitcoin or Ethereum, but this is not looking like a terrible chart. We're getting to an apex. We're getting to a decision point. Is the decision going to be down? I think fundamentally speaking, that would be hard to make the argument that we would head to lower levels. But, you know, rationale and market moves do not go together. So don't ever fall into the trap. Don't ever become fundamental on a project. But let's take a look at what we can anticipate as far as what the alphanumerics indicator is saying. The momentum is looking like it's curling. The long-term moving averages are curling to the downside. You know, that's just indicating that the trend is down, but our short-term is curling up. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this kind of pans out. Maybe we trade sideways for a while, but yeah, it's looking decent. If we do break down, unfortunately, we're going to head down to some lower levels, somewhere around, you know, probably down to 50 cents if we do break down. But let's cross that bridge when we get there. We still have plenty of support at $1. So there's no real reason to, you know, get the alarm bells going on that.
Well, I mean, would you agree with me? Pretty much absolutely everything is just following Bitcoin's move at the moment.
Bitcoin rules the space. We have not decoupled from that yet. We have not. If Bitcoin is performing poorly, the market is performing poorly. If Bitcoin is doing well, the market is doing well. There will likely be a day where that correlation is less intense, but that day is not today. You know, most of the market receives its price based on speculation, not on actual need, not on actual demand. You know, if you look at a commodity like, you know, corn or rice or soy, it's pretty clear to be able to identify the demand and the supply characteristics in something like that. Whereas when we're in an asset class where A, nobody gets it, B, it's just there's too many competitors that are saying they can kind of compete with one another. It's pure speculation. Speculation comes with volatility. So we're going to have to see, we have to let the charts tell us. So what I would be looking for a trend change in Matic is if we can get above 650, 660, get a move above that level, that would break out this local high. That would be the first indication of a trend change. Right now, it's nothing but lower lows and lower highs. So until we can get that trend change to higher highs and higher lows, you know, you can accumulate or you can just chill. Both are appropriate, but I don't think there's a long trade here just yet.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you know, for me, I've been swing trading Matic. It's been a favorite of mine for quite a while. I got in very early on it. I know you held it forever and maybe have that sort of emotional situation of wanting to...
I held it forever at frickin' where was I holding this frickin' nonsense? I was holding it at like
though? I mean,
2 cents.
We've got EIP 1559 coming up, but I think the role of Matic has, you know, a lot of people have. I continually get the question, you know, once we get Ethereum 2.0, will Matic be relevant? Yes, it will. But, you know, we're still a ways off from ETH 2.0. To me, this is a great project. It's my third biggest investment, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
So
and
Matic. I'm curious as to why you say that. What else is a layer 2 going to add if it's not just simply lowering the fees? Why do we need Matic in a ETH 2.0 world?
Well, look, I mean, if we look at the Ethereum gas fees now, they are so low because so much of the action is happening on Matic. So, you know, that rollout to ETH 2.0 is not happening tomorrow. You know, we would like to think it's going to happen within a year. It might be longer. Even when that is in place, I still see a role for Matic. But look, the reality for me, I'll assess that further down the track. The reality right now is I'm just seeing exponential growth, the amount of dApps that are on Matic. The numbers that are on there, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. To me, it's a great investment. To me, at this price, it's a great buy. I bought back in heavily when it dipped below $1 the other day. Made 25% on it in the last week. But I'm sort of trading that in line with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks back below that 35K mark and heads down to 30, I'll be keeping a close eye on my Matic position. But that to me is a great project. I'm actually only in 5 tokens at the moment. The other one being AMP. Just had a bit of a pullback, unfortunately. Bought that at 40.
Segway.
What's that?
Segway. Segue into AMP. So I know nothing about this. How about you give me the rundown before I dive into the TA?
Look, it's a US-based company, which comes with its own set of issues. Should regulators decide to stamp on it, but effectively, to me, it almost looks like it operates quite a similar fashion to maybe a Stellar Lumens. It's used as collateral for purchases, so any token can be used to make a crypto purchase. The AMP token is held in different tranches. So in other words, X amount is allocated to each token. So it's look, from a retail point of view, this thing's been rolled out across a bunch of petrol stations, I believe, right across the US. Hell of a lot of interest in it at the moment. So
the AMP token is an application?
Yeah.
Is it a wallet?
No, it's not. No.
So what is AMP? What is that? Is it an application, or where does the token? You say it works for payments with any other crypto, right? So I'm just trying to get the clear picture onto what it is.
Should we bring it up? I didn't want to go into a full-fledged pitch on AMP. I was more keen on looking at the chart.
Well, that's fair enough. Well, the chart looks volatile. Sorry. The chart looks volatile. The chart is making higher highs and making higher lows. You'd be wanting to be very careful of this area right here. So this was kind of the area of the last recovery. Okay. Okay, so this is the area that you're going to want to pay attention to. We're making higher highs and higher lows, so that's good. This is the area of the last breakout where it had a really good move. So you're going to want to pay attention to this area right here. If we break down below 5 cents, 5 to 5.5 or 4.5 cents, you're going to probably sweat a little, especially if we break below kind of 3 cents, something like that. It's going to be the first lower low. So I don't like the supply is contracting, and I guess that's a good thing when you're on a retracement like this. We're flattening out a little bit. We really need to flatten out and hold this level of support. If we can't hold this level of support, it could get ugly. Like you said, there is a lot of speculation and volatile nature to these US-based assets as they are heavily scrutinized and heavily fought in courts. So there's usually a lot of drama that comes along with these types of tokens. But this is the level to watch right here, this box of support. If we can hold it and get a new higher high, then if it breaks above this high, it's going to go probably parabolic and become severely overvalued. But yeah, it's hard to say at this point if that will be the case. It's going to be highly dependent on what Bitcoin wants to do.
Okay, well, you forced me to do a complete rundown of what AMP actually is on tomorrow's show, people. So tune in for that. As far as the chart goes, Baloo.
There you
go. Yeah. So how about we move on to
it's a swinger.
It's a swinger, absolutely. So how about we move on to a project we both love dearly, which is Axie Infinity. Do you want to quickly tell the audience what you're up to there?
Yeah, so Axie came out with a announcement. I think it was in today or yesterday, depending on where you are in the world. But they just increased the breeding fee for this ecosystem. It used to be that you needed 2 AXS tokens to breed an Axie, and now you need 4 AXS tokens to breed an Axie. So that is going to cause a little bit of a rush, because if people have, if people have a plan in place for their growth to build a scholarship team or whatever the case may be, they will have crunched the numbers and they know how many AXS tokens they need to achieve those goals. So as this announcement kind of doubles the breeding schedule or doubles the breeding fee, people got to lock in those rates, lock in the rates today, because you don't know if this could actually cause a rally. And so far, it looks as though it is causing a rally. So we're going to have to watch this and see what happens. It's kind of working against the entire market right now. So I've made note of this level right here, which was the previous up thrust at just under $6. If we can get a move, even just a tiny wick above $6 and hold this, I'm going to call this the sign of strength. And I do think that this whole move is very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised for us to get a sign of strength here, giving us our first kind of macro higher high in this structure. And if we come down and get a higher low somewhere in this range, anywhere from probably 450 to $5, 525. So I would not be surprised to see this continue to climb, because effectively, people need more tokens now. If they wanted to breed, now they need 4. So if they're coming into the ecosystem later, they have to buy more than what they had to buy before. This is a way for the Axie Infinity team to kind of throttle back some of the breeding that's going on in the ecosystem. I think they hit 40,000 Axies per day. So they're trying to throttle that back a little bit, because that is a pretty insane number. They're very concerned with sustainability. It's basic supply and demand. If people just pump supply into the market, eventually the price has to go down. So that could be good for those that are waiting to get some cheap Axies, because the Axies are getting pretty expensive. I think a good tank almost runs you a quarter ETH now. It depends on what it is that you're trying to do, but yeah, these Axies are getting pretty pricey. So
I paid that yesterday. So
yeah.
look, there's a lot of our community obviously playing the game and earning SLP. What's your understanding of the economics around the SLP token and what moves its price?
Well, nothing's moving the price. That's great. It's stable. It's the most stable cryptocurrency in the world right now, next to Tether. It's fantastic. It just doesn't seem to move the price. I don't know much about the tokenomics. I don't know. As far as I understand, the SLP that goes into breeding is burned. But this is a flat chart. And honestly, if you are a scholar or even just a manager, this is not a bad thing to see. If we have stability in the underlying currency, this is a good thing, because it allows you to plan. It allows you to, make adjustments. It allows you to plan. You're able to make a business plan, because one of the key ingredients to this ecosystem is relatively stable. I would love it if this just doesn't move. So
well, it's the velocity of money, isn't it? If something's actually being used, it remains stable. If people sit on it, the price moves up dramatically. So yes, the velocity of SLP is quite clearly very good.
Is beautiful. I would love to see this just 12 to 13 cents all day long. Keep it.
So what obviously this project sort of caught your imagination. What are you currently doing in the space? Tell us a bit about that.
I'm in building mode. So, I'm breeding. I'm getting the scholarships to help with covering some of my breeding costs. I'm offering scholarships to individuals to whom I trust, and yeah, my goal is to build a little bit of a side hustle here and kind of get this going a little bit. I'm in the scaling mode, so a lot of this is being reinvested into the breeding and creating of new teams right now. And yeah, hopefully I will get it to the point where I own a good amount of digital assets, and then hopefully this thing keeps going. It's pretty interesting. I've often, ever since realizing this, the intricacy of this ecosystem, I've watched how stable it is, and that's very intriguing to me because I've been in crypto, much like yourself, for 5 or 6 years, and seeing something stable in crypto is fascinating. So
Yeah.
to have all of this stuff be so stable and predictable, and watching a true economy take shape, and watching people make livings off of this, both from the scholar side and from the manager side. There's an economy here, and it's pretty rare that you see such a well functioning economy in the world, let alone a cryptocurrency.
Very true. I'm just looking at some of the comments here, many from our Axie community. So if you don't know Baloo, people, now you do. He's been on the channel with us for a couple of months. How are you looking to allocate your teams? Anything you can share with the audience?
I'm you know I'm keeping it rather simple. I'm basically going a lot of word of mouth. Multi accounting is kind of the biggest vulnerability out there for the scholarship manager. So I'm doing my best to kind of avoid falling victim to having my accounts frozen by somebody multi accounting. So I'm doing a survey. I'm doing video calls to kind of interview the individual and kind of see if they're legit. And outside of that, that's pretty much it. I'm not using this as a way to kind of promote my channel or anything like that. I have a trading channel, so I kind of do want to keep it more focused on trading. I don't need a bunch of comments and subs that are just there for scholarship giveaways or anything like that. So I'm keeping it very word of mouth. I'm keeping it kind of trusted is kind of the best way that that I can go about this. And if I don't know you, I'm going to interview you, and that's basically how I'm approaching this.
Okay. Yeah, no, very good. No, I agree with everything you've just said there. For me personally, I've basically been rewarding people who are engaged with the hard forking channel. We're getting to know many of these people. We've also tokenized hard forking about 6 months ago, and in the next week we're going to start including the likes of yourself, people that are helping with the community with. We actually think we're probably the first YouTube channel or media outlet in the crypto space that is tokenized and not a utility token. Obviously, there's plenty of that out there, but it's an equity in the company. So we will be inviting community managers, some of the better scholars, the likes of yourself, to take part in that in the coming weeks. But for us, I think the beauty of what's come out of this whole sort of COVID experience, but being locked away, is the the mindset of reaching out, creating friendships, creating businesses online. Of course, I've been doing this for a number of years with my involvement, in the rollout of the internet going back to the mid-90s. But now it's really been in this last year where that's become extremely practical. So, something like Axie is, I don't like using the phrase first cab off the rank. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more, lots of other projects like this, but man, this one's impressed me. Really, really, really does.
Yeah, it really is quite impressive, and it's the business model that I'm so interested in. I've actually started a side group inside of my my paid Discord, for my trading channel. So all of the members who are in the crypto jungle, we've kind of created this sub group inside of the jungle that is teaching just the inner workings of how this economy works, because maybe one day, well, it's probably likely that one day Axie is not as popular as it is right now. Games come and games go, but the business model is going to stick around. This is a business model that is going to stay. So acquiring these skills as a manager or a scholar are incredibly valuable skills to learn and carry forwards for the rest of your life, because this model is not going anywhere. It's just something that works, and it's a bit of a head scratcher for somebody looking at it a surface level, but when you get in it and you understand, it's, if somebody wants something, they're going to pay for it. If somebody wants to play a game, they're going to pay for it. If somebody wants a good version of the fighter in the game, they're going to pay for it. Yep. And it's really that simple. If somebody wants something, they're going to pay for it. So it's nice to kind of take a step back, because I am not a gamer. I did not come to this excited to play the game. I actually am kicking myself for taking so long to actually play the game. But it's the fact that you go down to the grassroots of what it means to why things have value. Things have value because people want them. That's it. Plain and simple.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So, in your whole times in the blockchain space, could you maybe tell us a bit about what has really impressed you? When you talk to sort of friends and family and they are like, okay, you've got your YouTube channel, but what's this crypto stuff all about? What do you tell them? What has impressed you? What are you telling other people?
For the most part, it's been kind of the libertarian approach and the freedom, and just, Bitcoin allows you to kind of have a sovereign bank account that's separate from anybody. And then Ethereum has been, democratizing the internet and creating this sub layer, or this not a sub layer, but a layer on top of the internet that we have, that's going to add a layer of security and fraud protection. And, those are kind of the selling features that I focus on. And now we're seeing economies pop up that is democratizing the world in terms of value. It's kind of weird that we live in a world where an American can, buy, whatever, a hamburger for X amount of dollars, but that same amount of money could buy 10 in a different country. Why is that? It's because nations have suppressed one another. So blockchain is opening up those doors, and it's not asking permission. So it's offering value that's more of a fair value that all parties along the world, both in rich nations and poor nations, can come to an agreement on satisfactory earnings. So the Axie Infinity system is pretty impressive in that regard. But boy, is it a hard sell, because you show it to your friends and family and they're just like, this is a business, eh? These little cute little creatures, you're playing Pokemon for a living, are you? And it's, it's kind of, people will get there. There's always going to be resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm a big fan. I in many ways, I sort of see it as universal basic income without having to rely on a central entity. We're creating these communities, these pools of value amongst ourselves. It's incredibly impressive looking at the people here. Just to answer some of your questions, yes, Jonathan, I will send you a new QR code as soon as I get off here. Now, if you are looking for another team from either of us, please put a comment below. We do take a huge amount of notice who does follow the content. Ask good questions, leave nice comments, and we'll certainly factor that in, people. A lot of new names popping up today as well. Good to see. So outside of crypto, Baloo, you've moved across the planet. How's the new home? Are you enjoying yourself?
Well, I haven't settled into the long-term accommodations yet, but I'm liking the country thus far. I've got myself a motorbike, so I've got a form of transportation, and I'm living in a pretty nice villa. So it's so far so good. Yeah, I'm loving the food. It's very different from what I was getting in Mexico. So, change is good.
Yeah. Listen, on Mexico, we've had a pretty interesting situation. We had, I believe I think the third wealthiest man in Mexico had put 10% of all his billions into crypto, owns a bank, wanted to offer crypto via his bank, but apparently the government turned around yesterday and said, hell no, that ain't happening. What can you tell us about what you saw in Mexico as far as crypto adoption and knowledge goes?
I would say that crypto adoption and knowledge is very minimal. For the most part, I know Didi found a bit of a community. I didn't see it. I didn't see much of a Bitcoin community at all. I didn't see Bitcoin kind of referenced anywhere where I was in Mexico. And it's very much so a cash-based society. People, have their pesos. They collect their US dollars, and they do so not in a bank. So it's very primitive in a lot of ways, and they kind of like it that way in my experience. Obviously, I'm generalizing here, and but for the most part, you know it's not as adapt as others that I've seen. It seems like a cash based society to me.
Okay. I mean, before we some of the news, first up, Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk to talk about Bitcoin at an upcoming event. What a very weak headline. Whoever wrote that needs to go back to school. But yeah, look, Elon Musk, are we over this guy? Are we giving him to, does he have a huge amount of clout? Is he the market mover? Do we want him to meet Jack and say, yes, I love Bitcoin and the price doubles? What are your thoughts on Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk?
I don't think we're going to be done with Elon Musk until he moves to
Mars.
moves to Mars, and then kills himself after an extradition. He's very much so the John McAfee of this cycle. I don't know, he's a Twitter troll. He knows he's a troll. If you look at him and you don't
my
think
friends
he's
in
a troll,
traditional finance said that he would be locked up for the rest of his life if he was doing what he was doing in traditional markets. But crypto's unregulated, so he's got away with it.
yeah, it's unfortunate that so many people hold his word at high regard. It's unfortunate, but it's also a reality. So, it's something that I guess you can keep on the back burner and pay attention. But at the end of the day, like, I really don't care what, I really don't care. I don't hold much value. Everybody thinks he has a lot of power because his tweet caused the shakeout. I actually disagree with that, because the shakeout was present to me in the technicals before that tweet came out. But it's human nature to want causation on an event. And I think it was just conveniently timed that he did a negative quote or a negative tweet that dumped the market, and now everybody thinks he has an incredible amount of power, which I just don't think he has.
Yeah. And look, on this topic, people, I just want to reiterate it for probably the 6,000th time over the last 5 or 6 years I've been doing this. For me, Bitcoin is an asset you control. It's stateless money. It's unconfiscatable. It's uncensorable. It's not about the price. If you want to gamble on price appreciation, and yeah, in my opinion, you're making a good bet with Bitcoin, but go gamble on something else. Understand Bitcoin for what it is. Fuck Elon Musk. Seriously, that guy's just toying with your emotions, throwing in his little Dogecoins and whatever else he's up to. So yeah, whatever to Elon.
Pretty much.
We won't spend too much time on this one here. South African crypto founders disappear with a couple of billion. We've seen that before, so we won't dwell on it too much. Good on you, fellas. Enjoy your 2.2 billion. I'm sure you'll be able to spend it. But look, this one's a biggie for me. You know, these guys run a very big fund. I think this is the third one they've launched. 2.2 billion coming into that. The space is growing. You know, we get very consumed with looking at the daily price moves, but I can assure you what is really happening in the space is nothing short of exponential growth. So there you go, Andreas and Horowitz launching a $2.2 billion crypto fund. Unless you've been living under a rock in this space, El Salvador has made Bitcoin legal tender and is giving $30 worth of Bitcoin to every one of their citizens. So they've got to set up a digital wallet. That might be tricky for many. I'm not sure about the sort of the mobile phone proliferation in that country, but I think Willy Woo the other day
that's the point.
That
it's got to be tricky. You know, they're teaching people a new skill, so it's really important, you know, for them to do that. Hey, we got free money. Figure it out.
Very true. Airdrop. And last, but not, well, second to last, Binance, banned by UK regulator. Now, this one, Baloo, is, you know, to me has many, many layers to it. I think what will define our space for at least the next few years is regulation. Now, whether you love it or hate it, it's on its way. I do think there will be elements of the crypto space when you think in terms of privacy coins, pirate chain, etc. The market will decide if people want complete anonymity. Products will be there. It's going to be up to you whether you declare your holdings to your taxman, etc. Those options are going to be there for you in the crypto space. They simply won't be there when it comes to the likes of a Bitcoin. In my opinion, but Bitcoin is becoming digital gold. It's an institutional asset. High net worth individuals have been all over it. That's what this bull run has been about, in my opinion. It's also very nice to see that retail are buying up a lot of the coins that the whales have put back on the market in the last few months. The on-chain analytics have been telling us that increases the Gini coefficient, will make the playing field fairer if we are in fact creating a new financial system with Bitcoin as a standard. So as the small player, do not get lost and think that owning a small piece of this asset is worthless to you. It's simply not the case. Even $100 worth of this is worth your while here, people. Own a piece of this network. And as I say, the on-chain analytics are actually showing that some of the big whales, some of the really long-term holders have sold off over the last 6 months. It's that next level down that they call what do they call them? The dolphins and the sharks that are accumulating more. So, don't, this whole diamond hands, we've got a huge amount of analogies that float around in the space, but, have a piece of it. It's, look, I've fallen into the trap of wanting the 10X, but, you've got to understand why Bitcoin's important. It is quite different to these other assets. And here it is, people are coming in to regulate Binance. They will come and try and regulate your entire life. Take this vaccination, do this, don't travel there, you can't do that. Bitcoin is that little piece of pushback here where at least you have the option to declare your position on your terms. So understand that. Last one. This is our man in Mexico. So, I was hoping you could maybe comment a bit more on what was going down in Mexico. But, Mexico's a powerhouse. They're part of NAFTA. We've obviously seen El Salvador make Bitcoin legal tender. It looks like Paraguay are about to follow. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Panama is looking to do the same. To me, Panama is an absolute flashpoint for many, many reasons, and I'll be talking extensively about that in the coming weeks. But yeah, Mexico doesn't surprise me, actually, that the government there has sort of stopped this one in its tracks, as billionaire Ricardo Salinas has been looking to launch a crypto bank. Ain't happening, Ricardo, by the look of it. Thoughts on any of those comments I've just made before we wrap up today?
He's going to accept it or he's not.
Well, I mean, we'll see whether he accepts it. But basically, he went public a couple of days ago saying that his bank wanted to be a crypto bank, buy and sell crypto, act as a custodian. But the authorities have very quickly jumped in, literally hours after he made that statement, and said, that ain't happening, fella. Look, you know, it astounds me.
Well, it's interesting. It shows you that they're thinking about it. It shows you that the authorities have thought about it and they've already come up with their stance. You know, Mexico doesn't want the power to be taken away from the peso. So yeah, they're scared. They're taking the scared approach.
Very true. Very true. Okay, mate, we're going to wrap up very shortly. Before we do, anything else you want to just tell the audience on the Axie front? Because I know many of the people watching today are looking for scholarships. How can they get one of yours?
Yeah, I think if people have made it all the way to the end here, like I said, I will be doing an interview process, but I want to give these people an opportunity to be interviewed. So I've actually given you a Discord link. It's good for 10 invites. So if you drop it into the chat, first 10 people get into the Discord, and we'll go from there.
Okay. You've just put that in this chat, yeah?
In your WhatsApp there.
Oh, sorry, in WhatsApp. Okay. All right, people.
I don't have time to get to them right away. It's probably not going to be for at least 24 hours, but I'll at least interview those individuals and see what comes up.
Okay, you're probably going to get about 200 people, but there you go, people.
No, I'm only going to get 10. It only works for 10.
Oh, okay. There you go. So I've just put that Discord link into the chat here, people. So if you are looking for a scholarship, you can have a chat with Baloo there.
If the link says invalid, you didn't make it. So don't ask.
Okay, listen, thank you so much for your time today, mate. We'll see you back here next week. I hope you're enjoying Bali. I'm very, very envious. It's got very cold down here in New Zealand. I haven't had a winter in about 15 years, and I'm struggling, putting it mildly.
It's chilly 28 degrees right now.
Okay.
The pool is really cold.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. All right. And listen, I can see some of my scholars in the chat here. I'm going to send you out new QR codes this evening. You need to log out of the game. So in about 2 hours, if you can log out, I will send you a new QR code. Apparently, it's not working if you're currently logged in. I don't know if you watched yesterday's video explaining that, but that is the case. Jonathan, I see you asking that question. Okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Baloo, I'll let you get back to a sultry evening in Indo. We'll see you back here very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers now.